So between that moment then, how long between proposal and marriage?
4 months.
Oh, it's fast.
We
Okay,
were like
but you'd known each other for how long? Like
11
10
years. Yeah,
Okay.
10
Yeah.
years.
So you seem so thoughtful and intentional about all this. How much was premarital counseling, building a foundation for marriage, between that time of proposal and wedding?
yeah.
How big a part of your story is that?
Huge.
Yeah, I mean go ahead.
Well, the follow-up to that is how people watching this who are thinking about getting married,
Yeah.
newly married, how big a piece of your story is building this foundation through help from outside?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, through both of us through life and then through our journey, our dating
Yeah.
relationship, have sought counsel, professional counseling.
Yeah.
We and that has been instrumental, you know? Like, so I think the prep work for marriage for us was when we were both just dating and when we were both single. Like,
Yeah.
just constantly helping yourself to become a more self-aware and better person and work through problems and pains and everything is just so important. And so we both went to counseling while we were dating separately, and then when we got engaged, we met with Al Andrews, and it's funny because he's like, I do premarital counseling, but I don't necessarily, believe in it unless it's not believe in it. But
Yeah.
if you're a couple who is like, do we get married? Do we not? Like, yes, have premarital counseling. And if there's damage in the relationship, like, have premarital counseling. But he's like, me trying to help you now and teach you about marriage is like me trying to teach you how to swim with no water. So it's like you can explain, like, well, you kind of kick your legs and then you paddle with your arms and
That's
it
good.
splashes you, but like until you jump into the ocean, you don't get it.
Yeah.
And so he was like, when you guys jump in to the ocean, that's when you'll probably want to come back and be like, man, I'm drowning.
Yeah.
Help me learn how to swim again. Like now that I know what water feels like.
Yeah, I mean, we're both huge fans of counseling.
Yeah.
I think whether you think you need it or not, like, you need it.
Yeah.
Right.
You should go. I mean, so that was one thing that both of us did individually, which I think we did work through a lot before I even asked her to marry me.
Yeah.
There were things that, we kind of had to talk about and work through, and then
With counseling or
yeah,
just okay.
yeah, with counseling for sure. And
Yeah.
then, once we were engaged, I'll never forget one of the coolest things I think he said that still rings true for us was, he goes, we all write stories. And we all interpret things the way that we interpret them. And he goes, Mike, you might say something to Molly, and for some reason, the way that she heard it, she now starts writing this book.
Yeah.
And those pages are filling up, and we start living our life as if what we're writing is true. And he's like, so what if we were to stop before we start writing the story and say, hey, when you said that, the story I'm writing in my head is, you don't care, you don't think this, or you don't whatever, to give that other person the chance to go, well, wait a second, there was nothing behind, whatever. So that's something we still do now, is we'll go, hey, I don't know if it's true, but like, this is kind of the story I'm writing with that.
That's what I'm feeling.
Yeah, so it's like, I mean, that was worth premarital counseling.
Learning how to
in
communicate
itself.
in premarital, like, it is just so essential.
Wow. So you're married now, and you both have separate full-time music careers.
Yes.
Which means you're both traveling separately.
Yes.
From the downbeat.
Yeah.
From the time you get married.
Right.
Yeah.
So you know this going into it, but is that at any point like, this is difficult to manage?
I mean, when we first started dating, we were both in our separate things.
Yeah.
And, I think while you're still dating and stuff, it's not, you don't notice it as much as once we got married. And then it was like,
You're used to sleeping next to the person, and then all of a sudden you part your own ways, and you're like, oh, in a hotel room
bunk.
alone
Yeah.
or in a bunk or,
Yeah.
So it definitely, that sense of my person, like my husband or my wife, you're not here with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That ripping apart felt way more intense than when we were dating.
Yeah.
And I think, if we were doing separate things, like different careers in general,
Yeah.
if Molly was, I don't know, not doing music and I was, and we were doing it separately,
Yeah.
it would be easier for some reason than knowing, wait, we're both doing the same thing
Yeah.
and we're not together. Like there was just
Yeah.
something about
Yeah.
that felt uniquely wrong in a way. And we talked a lot about it, like one day.
So
like
there
one
were
day.
conversations.
Oh,
Yeah,
back
it was
then.
our prayer.
From
We're
day
like, God,
one.
one day will you please help, like, if it's your will, which we're asking, will this be your will?
Yeah.
That we can do this together and we dream about it. Like, imagine, because it gets lonely. So,
Sure.
like, imagine all being there with each other and leaving in the stage after a great show and celebrating together, not like a midnight phone call when you packed everything up. You're like, did it go good? Yeah, it was great. Okay, good. I love you. But
Yeah, yeah.
And then we dream kids. It's like, that was unfathomable. How are we going
Right.
to, you do your thing and you're on this tour and I'm on this tour, and what is our child and future children?
Sure.
What's going to happen? Like, that's not sustainable. So
this seed of Grayson Reed
Yeah.
was planted
yeah.
early in the marriage, at
Yeah,
least.
Oh, yeah.
absolutely.
And but it just didn't seem
Well,
possible.
it's
Yeah, I mean, sorry, go ahead.
no, yeah. I mean, the business is such that you're in contracts and you have things that can that get in the way, honestly. And we're both loyal people who want to respect the people that believe in us and invested in us, and
Sure.
it just felt like, okay, now it's not an option.
Yeah.
But maybe one day it will be.
So there was, to get to that maybe one day, there was
Yeah.
a lot of difficulty and
Yeah.
pain.
Yeah.
And I'm sure times when you thought it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Just a little bit about that. What kept that kind of North Star of someday we think we should do this together? Was that the thing that propelled you through the worst times of your own private careers?
Yeah.
I think, like, thinking back through that season now, I don't know that it was the North Star.
Yeah.
I think there was something to, no matter what happens, hopefully one day we can do whatever.
Yeah.
But I think in the season where we were trying to figure out what was next for both of us, there was a lot of prayer of just, what is it? Like, is it right for our family, for us to even continue doing music?
Yeah.
You ask that question of, like, is this best for us, for
Yeah.
our kids, for our family? So, there was the huge range of, do we do this separately? Do we do it together? Do we not
we
do it at
move
all?
on?
It was
Right.
like,
Yeah.
Lord, what do you want? And I think we both really did get to the place of, if it's not music, as hard as it is to say, like, we're okay with what you want,
Yeah.
And I think,
That kind of, that was like a huge moment.
That's
in
a
our
surrender.
marriage. It is.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like, and we both said before that, yeah, we trust you, God, it's in your hands, but it's like, no, like in our individual projects, we were just clinging so tightly, and so much of our identity
Yes.
was wrapped up in Mike's chair and in City Harbor, and it wasn't really healthy all the time, the way that we've entered into this journey together. And so, like you said, we got to the point where we're like, we don't know if this is where you're calling us for sure, God. We feel like we should pursue this, but in our hearts and at the core of us, if the doors don't open, we are genuinely and authentically okay.
yeah.
Like, we'll be fine.
That's,
Not-
that's a big moment.
It's
That's a big-
huge. Yeah.
Not to mention, God was going to have to, like, move some huge mountains
Yeah.
and open and close some really big doors for
Yeah.
it to even be an option.
Business kinds of
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
And it's kind of funny because I feel like, you are focused on that, and then all of a sudden, all these other things come into play, and we're focused on who knows what. And we'll never forget it. It's so crazy. But like the same day, I mean, literally the same day,
Yep.
Molly and I both
The same hour.
pretty much. It was like as one thing was, you know, as I was kind of parting ways with, you know, the situation I was in, the same hour Molly found out that was, you know, closing for her too. And I'll never forget the phone call of just like, well, you know, I'm free to do something else now. And
Yeah.
Molly's like,
Yeah.
well, so am
Guess
I.
Yeah.
And it's kind of funny because literally that was the first moment that I was like, wait a second. Like,
God, are
that's
you,
not
like,
by
orchestrating?
chance,
Yeah.
you know? And so it was after that moment that we were like, well, we've always talked about this. We've always
Yeah.
dreamed about this. Like, should we try? But I mean, Molly and I literally maybe only one time
Yeah.
in the 10 years that we had known each other had even written a song together.
Wow.
Because you always hear these horror stories of working with your spouse,
Oh,
and we
yeah.
didn't know if it would even work. So it was like you were kind of scared to even try because if it didn't work, then what, you know?
Yeah.
So we were like, well, I think it's time, you know? So we decided that we would sit down and just write songs, see if that even worked, you know?
Would it be safe to say then that that day when those phone calls interchanged was the birth of Grayson Reed?
For sure.
Yeah.
It was kind of the sobering moment of, okay, maybe we are supposed to actually do this,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.